Well, good evening, family. Good evening. Welcome to Empowerment Monday with yours truly, Prophet C.T. Johnson. I am excited and grateful to be back with you once again as we continue forging forward regarding a insightful, thought-provoking, sobering subject matter for the past 4 weeks. Today, this week, makes the fourth week that we have been plowing, that we have been forging forward, tackling, addressing this taboo subject of pedophilia. And so I am yet again forging forward, plowing this ground because this is where God has me as of right now, has us on Empowerment Monday. And we're going to stay here and continue forging forward, plowing forward, pressing forward until He releases us. So, good evening to you all as you come in. Say hello, say good evening to me that I may say hello and recognize you as well. Let me know. I don't say it every week because I don't remember every week, but let me know where you are viewing from. We have viewers from all over the world, literally from Africa, other parts of the country, other parts of the world. And so let me know where you are viewing from, whether you're watching live or will catch the replay. And again, good evening to you all. As you come in, you know the drill, Facebook and YouTube family. We need for you to like the page, like CT Johnson Ministries page, follow the page, also like the video, and we need for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, CT Johnson Ministries. We need for you to hit the thumbs up button there and share on YouTube as well. Share, 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 share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is significant as it pertains to our algorithm, as it pertains to notifying social media that yours truly is on with Empowerment Monday. And we're not just here every week jaw jacking. All right. We're not here every week prophesying and giving you what thus not saith the Lord. That's not what we do over here. Over here, we are empowering your thinking so that you can change your life, as well as empowering you to empower others. So again, good evening to you all. I see you, I see you, I see you. Share, 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 and again, share. Let's jump right into the continuation of our series, again entitled The Agenda to Normalize Pedophilia. This has been a 4-week journey. I encourage you to go back to either our YouTube channel or our Facebook and revisit, re-listen, replay. Go to my website, ctjohnson.org, and click on I can't recall off the top of my head, but there's a tab up there. I think that says resources, FYI, for your information. I have uploaded, my staff has uploaded all of the articles that we have referenced and all of the sources that we have referenced as it pertains to this teaching. And there are about 3 to 4 additional articles that will be uploaded to the website before the end of the week in regards to what we're going to tackle tonight. So I want to encourage you to go to my website and do your own homework and study for yourself what we have been laying out, rolling out for you in regards to the agenda to normalize pedophilia. Now, tonight specifically, we're going to deal with pedophile statistics. Pedophile statistics, facts. I want to share with you some astounding statistics for the purpose of awareness, for the purpose of bringing you out of the dark as it pertains to this demonic stratagem. This is a demonic stratagem, a demonic strategy from hell to normalize this perverse behavior for the purpose of legalizing. I've been saying this rather from the beginning of this teaching series that legalization is the result of normalization. And so we are going to further deal with, further address this subject matter of the agenda to normalize pedophilia. Tonight, specifically addressing and dealing with pedophile statistics. Now, before I jump into the teaching, we have a lot of slides to go through tonight, and we probably will not conclude this part of our series, but we're going to get as far as time will allow. But very quickly, I want to share a video with you that's going to segue us into this discussion further. All right. So let's get ready to watch this about a 5-minute video. Stick with me tonight. Share. 5-minute video. And then we're going to come back and jump right into our teaching.
Many people will tell you there's no single profile of a child molester. But I think what we have to look at is there's two types of child molesters. There are child molesters like the guy sitting outside a school or outside an arcade who draws the kid in with candy or draws the kid in with showing the kid dirty pictures and then gets the child and violently molests the child. That's one kind. That's not the kind of child molester we're talking about here. What we're talking about are those people, teachers, youth leaders, priests, scout leaders who work in youth organizations, institutions of trust. And while it's not true in every single case, we pretty much know that most child molesters have these kinds of characteristics. Oftentimes, and again, we have to realize that over 90% of people who molest children, and some statistics show it higher, are males who molest young girls and males who molest young boys. And we also, of course, have the parents who molest their children. We're not talking about those people as well. We're talking about people who molest in the context of an institution. And in these situations, we tend to find that these people are single, unattached persons. These people present a terrific, eager interest in children. They cater to children. They know what children like almost better than the parents who send their children to these institutions know. They present themselves as people who will spend any hour of the day to meet the child's needs. So after the child leaves the scout troop, or after the child leaves the Boys and Girls Club, they come home and they need something, for instance, travel for school supplies, that person will do it for them. So again, what people need to look at is people who are overeager to be around children, people whose homes, when they go into the person's home, they see they have kid games around the house. They have things that children will be attracted to, because the one thing about child molesters is that they know what children want. They have practiced it for years and years and years. And the thing about child molesters is the way they practice it is they go from job to job, attempting to molesting children, then leaving if somebody figures out who they are. And so molesters, while they're not cut out of one cookie cutter, they're people who seek the attention of children. And it's a gut reaction to the extent that nobody can say, yes, that's a child molester, but people have a queasy feeling. When people are interviewed, typically after these cases are over, they'll say, you know, I always thought that so-and-so, he always wanted to be around my kid, but I thought he just was being nice about it because my kid never complained. And so, I think the most important thing to take away is you're going to look for people, typically single males, who have a great interest in the child, even coaches who want to do more for the kid. Even after the coaching is over, they want to take the kid out for and there's nothing wrong with this, obviously, because my kids' coaches have done this in the past, want to take the kids out for dinner afterwards. But you really have to monitor that. You really have to look at that, because when it becomes a pattern and practice in their behavior, then you have to be concerned. And so while, again, most people will be told there's no profile to a child molester, the person that spends a lot of time with your kid, the person that gives presents to your kid, the person that shows up at strange times, like in the early evening, to take your child to a music lesson when you haven't called them, the person who offers to babysit your child from the school, a teacher who wants to have the child come over and do some work on their house and pays them. Those are the types of people that you should at least be concerned about and look closely at, because child molesters disappear into the fabric of the culture they're living in. And so it does take, that's why training is so important to really help identify these people. That's why we have experts in our cases come in to talk about the grooming process, because child molesters know how to groom. And the grooming process is, recognizing the grooming process is recognizing the profile of a child molester.
All right. All right. Were you informed by that video? Again, good evening to all of you. Good evening, Apostle, Sister, Apostle Ashley. Good evening to all of you that are just coming in. I want to ask you real quick once again to share, and share. Let's get this information out. This is our 4th week dealing with the subject, dealing with the teaching series, as it were, the agenda to normalize pedophilia. Tonight, we are going to specifically address pedophile statistics. Now, the video that I showed you that I came across earlier today as I was preparing and further studying in regards to what we are going to address tonight, I found it sobering. This is a sobering conversation. It's a taboo subject. It's a subject that not a lot of people have the intelligence nor the articulation to address. They don't have the the backbone. They don't have the boldness. That's the operative word that's the word I was searching for. Operative word. They don't have the boldness. They don't have what is required to address this subject, and not address it from an emotional standpoint where your emotions are driving and are leading the conversation, but addressing it again from an intellectual, from a statistical perspective. And I want you to understand that I'm not addressing this subject of pedophilia to promote fear, to stir fear, to summons the spirit of fear. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. A sound mind. We need to be informed. We need to possess the proper, we need to possess information. We need to have the proper knowledge as it pertains to what's happening in our world. We need to know the tactics. We need to know the strategies. We need to know the stratagem. We need to know what Satan is using. We need not be ignorant of his devices. We cannot any longer afford to be ignorant of what Satan is doing, nor can the church continue to operate in a spirit of ignorance and false humility. We need to adhere to the words of Christ and be harmless as doves, wise as serpents, harmless, but harmless as doves. We are missing the wise as serpents part. We're not operating in the wisdom of God. And this is why Satan has been successful. We don't want to admit it, but the truth is the truth. He has been successful thus far as it pertains to kickstarting this agenda to normalize pedophilia. You may get tired of me saying it, and if you do, then you need to go to someone else's social media who's going to tantalize you and pacify you. My job is to empower you so that we can cease being reactive and begin to be proactive and start engaging the enemy head on, engaging the enemy prior to him having initiated his plan, his agenda moving forward in his strategies of war and in his tactics. And so this is why we are addressing this subject. It is to inform you, again, to literally, some of you, drag your heads out of the proverbial sand and to make you aware of what Satan is not preparing to do, but what he has already kickstarted in regards to the normalization of pedophilia. Remember, when we started this series, I brought to your attention and or your awareness the pedophile community's agenda to not only normalize us to this perverse behavior, and I want you to just hold that word perverse mentally. We're going to define it here in just a moment from the Prophet's Dictionary, and then we're going to move forward. But not only is the pedophile community endeavoring to normalize us to this perverse behavior, but they are utilizing the tactic of sophistry. They are ascribing new language to their behavior. They no longer want to be identified as pedophiles, but they have created the term minor attracted person, MAP, and or non, I forgot what it's, non, is it, I think non-offensive. Thank you, Holy Ghost. Non-offensive minor attracted person. So it's non-offensive, no map or map. They are endeavoring to redefine this perverse behavior. And why? Why? Because they're playing as the LGBT community. Because at one point they were known, they even classified themselves as gay. They classified themselves as lesbian. They classified themselves as queer. They classified themselves as bisexual. But now, what did that community do? They redefined, they ascribed new language to their behavior of choice. And now we refer to them as the LGBTQ, and there are some other letters of the alphabet behind it that I don't remember. But the result for that community was the legalization, to legalize same-sex marriage. And it happened. How did it happen? It happened through the tactic of normalization. And I'm telling you by the Holy Ghost, this is a demonic agenda that Satan is pushing, and he's pushing hard. And the church has been skipping to Lou, my darling, prophesying foolishness, declaring things that God never declared. We are mixing, we are intermingling ourselves with demonic forces, and we have entered into divination, and we are ascribing to and supporting a lot of damnable devil's doctrine. And while we were sleeping with the enemy, y'all don't like this tonight, while we were sleeping with the enemy, while we were entertaining the enemy and are being entertained by him, he infiltrated our ranks and initiated war, unbeknownst to many, war on our children, war on our seed, war on our posterior, war on the next generation. And so I want to awaken you to this reality that Satan has kicked it up a notch, as it were. And it's time for us, again, to extract our heads from the proverbial sand and get in the fight. And you cannot fight what you are unaware of. You cannot fight what you are ignorant of. You can't. You can't. You can jump in the ring if you want, but if you don't possess the required knowledge as it pertains to your opponent, if you don't possess the required knowledge as it pertains to what is necessary on your part to defend yourself, to defeat the enemy. Education is paramount to winning wars. I know that because I've been in the United States military for over 22 years. And so we understand this on the natural front, but we are yet to comprehend and grasp this on the spiritual. So, with all of that having been said, I want to read to you the definition of perversion from the Prophet's Dictionary, written by the one and only Chief Apostle Dr. Paula A. Price, my covering, my pastor. If you don't have a copy, do yourself a favor and get it. Perversion, page 380, definition 1008, perversion. Listen to this, and we're going to jump into what we have to deal with tonight. That which is fraudulent, the definition of perversion from the Prophet's Dictionary. I didn't have time to put it in my slides. That which is fraudulent, crooked, or distorted from original design and purpose. Did y'all catch that? What is corrupt, false, or warped? Hold on. My eyes are playing tricks on me. That which is fraudulent, crooked, or distorted from original design and purpose. Pedophilia is perverse. The behavior, the desire, the proclivity, it is perverse because it is a fraudulent behavior. It is a crooked behavior. It is a distorted desire. It's a fraudulent desire. It's not legitimate. It's not normal. It goes against God's original design and purpose as it pertains to adults and children. Are y'all listening to me? An adult is not to have an amorous feeling and or attraction, amorous rather, the correct pronunciation, amorous attraction toward a child. Let me finish. What is corrupt, false, or warped, as seen in Isaiah 19:14, a misinterpretation that succeeds in corrupting. Now, I just wanted to read that into your hearing so that you can shake yourself if you have been apprehended by the lie, which is pedophilia is a neurological disorder. Go back to last week. Now, neurological disorder is different from a mental disorder. It's different from a psychological. The pedophile community, they are endeavoring to have pedophilia classified as a neurological disorder. Now, you go on your own time and research the difference between neurological disorder, mental disorder, psychological disorder, or go back and watch last week's broadcast where I addressed it. Now, tonight, let's go ahead and get the party started, as it were. Let's deal with and address some statistics. Pedophile statistics and facts. Again, I am dealing with this subject from this aspect for the purpose of awareness, because let's go to our first slide, and it's going to help me further validify and establish what it is I'm endeavoring, really assigned to address tonight. Let me do this. All right, move my face out of the way for a moment. Each slide will have the website where I found and drew this source and this information from. All right, from race.org. It's an acronym, and I can't recall what it stands for. It's the actual name of the organization, a very powerful organization that is doing a wonderful job advocating for our children. But this is a statement that was made by the race organization. Children require the protection of adults. Children require the protection of adults. The fear of people is not yet developed. Their intuition not yet loaded with enough information and experience to keep them from harm. This is our responsibility as adults. Notice, and I love the terminology that race uses here in this statement. Notice they did not say it's the job of parents or children require the protection of parents, because children require the protection not only of their biological parents and or their caregiver or the person that is responsible for them, but they require the protection of adults. Because unfortunately, and quiet as it's kept, there are parents that are actually the victimizers. There are parents that are sexually abusing their children. It's not always an outside. And as we go through these statistics, we will come to understand that statistically, the majority of pedophiles and or child molesters and child abusers, victimizers of children are persons and people that they know personally. And as the doctor shared in the video, and I can't recall right now, there is a specific term, there's a specific terminology that is used to address pedophiles who are of the professions that he mentioned, the coach, the teacher. And we, in most instances, we are suspicious of individuals whom aren't connected or associated with us in some personal way, shape, or form. And as I said on last week, when it comes to our children, we need to be observant. You can say suspicious if you want to, but we need to be wise. We need to be observant. We need to be informed about who we're leaving our children with and or exposing our children to, giving access to our children, even if they are relatives. But again, race says children require the protection of adults. The fear of people is not yet developed. Their intuition not yet loaded with enough information and experience to keep them from harm. Children are very trustworthy for the most part. Children are very trustworthy. And this is why it behooves us to ensure that they are protected, that we are not the violators, that we are not the perpetrators, that we are the protectors, that we are the guardians, because the experiences that our children have that are improper, that are abnormal, it warps their mind, it prohibits their development in many, many ways. It stunts growth, not only physically, but emotionally, mentally. And so it is paramount that the church, because who is the institution? What institution is supposed to be on the forefront of everything that's happening in our society and in our world? The church. Because as Dr. Price has taught us, the church once ruled the world. There was nothing that transpired in this world, throughout the world, that the church was not privy to, that the church was not informed about, that the church did not have some type of say regarding. But we have allowed the devil to talk us out of politics. We've allowed the devil to talk us out of entering into the seven spheres or mountains of influence. Hence, Satan has placed his principalities in position because God's principalities are out of position. We're MIA. We're missing in action. We're too busy majoring in the minors. We're too busy entertaining devils. We're too busy engaged not in what's transpiring, what's happening with our enemy as it pertains to their plans, plots, and schemes, so that we can counterattack, so that we can dismantle, so that we can push back. We're engaged with the enemy for self-gratification. The church is trying to figure out how close we can get to the devil and still be embraced by God. And while we're doing all of this other stuff, Satan is moving progressively regarding his agenda, taking ground, taking territory. And all we're doing is sleep. Wake up! Pedophile statistics and facts. Let's do some reading, shall we? Categorizing those that sexually, listen to this, listen to this, listen to this. Let me move my face for a moment. Again, all of what I'm sharing, all of what I'm sharing by way of slides, the website that I utilize to compile these slides and share these sources are on the bottom of the screen. All right. Categorizing those that sexually abuse children as predatory pedophiles is not only a common misconception, it's also dangerous. It gives us a sense that offenders are easier to identify through grooming behaviors or a lack thereof, and easier to understand that they have a sexual perversion that can't be cured. This makes it all the more difficult to understand how someone respected and well-liked could sexually abuse a child and consequently convict abusers who do not have a pattern of behavior that people would believe would correlate with being a pedophile. Now, let me break that down. In other words, what this article is saying is that not all sexual predators of children, particularly, are pedophiles, or that they have a consistent predilection or proclivity toward children. In other words, there are child molesters, there are individuals that are molesting and sexually abusing children who aren't pedophiles as it pertains to you accessing their electronic devices, and there's child porn and things of that nature. But there are child molesters and abusers that are engaged in activities that aren't telltale signs to them being child molesters. As we progress through the statistics, and again, this is to bring awareness, because many times we stereotype a pedophile. But you could have a pedophile or an abuser, a child molester, that's not pursuing pubescent children or pre-pubescent. Are y'all following me? Are you following me? Okay, so that's what they're saying. For example, let's continue. Those that sexually abuse children may view adult pornography, creating a defense that they must be innocent because they do not exhibit signs of being sexually attracted to children. Not all child molesters and or abusers abuse children because they're sexually attracted to them. We know, of course, it's driven by a demonic spirit, but that does not have to be a sexual attraction. For instance, rapists will rape individuals whom they aren't necessarily sexually attracted to. And so, what the article, the Mama Bear Effect.org, what they are endeavoring to do is to break us out of that mindset that there is a certain type of characteristic, that there's a certain type of person, that there's a certain type of characteristics to identify a pedophile and or a child molester and or a child predator, because they may possess no characteristics at all as it pertains to raping children, having a sexual attraction toward children, being a predator and or an abuser. Because the person in the three-piece suit, well kept, clean shaven, could very well be a predator. And the person that's unkempt, the person who is in need of a shave, the person that is seemingly discombobulated and not having it together, may be the one that can be trusted. Are y'all following me? So, last sentence, based on the evidence about sexual abuse, sexual attraction to children is not a prerequisite to sexual molesters of children. Did y'all hear that? I'm not trying to pump you tonight. I'm not trying to prophesy anything to you. I'm trying to inform you tonight. Did y'all catch that? Sexual attraction to children is not a prerequisite to sexual molesters of children. There are those who are molesting children who don't have an attraction, but they are yet engaging with that child inappropriately. And we need to be aware. All right? Some misconceptions. Contrary to popular belief, those who abuse children do not stand out. They usually are not scary, creepy, or weird. Okay? Again, I'm informing you. I'm trying to enlighten you and educate you and provide you with the tools necessary so that you won't jump to conclusions. This is why it behooves us not to be moved emotionally, not to be emotionally directed and led, but to be intellectually led, to be intellectually driven, to make sure that we have all of the necessary information so that we can judge the circumstance and judge the situation wisely, so that we don't put our foot in our mouth and accuse people of behavior and or accuse people of doing something that they didn't nor ever had a mind to do. Are y'all following me? The remnant of believers that I have on tonight, just give me a thumbs up for those of you that are yet with me, if you're tracking, if this is making sense, if this is equipping you, if this is providing you with information that you were void of prior. Let's move forward. In fact, over 90% of offenders, we're dealing with pedophile statistics tonight. So we're going to do some reading and we are going to disclose some numbers. We're going to get further into this. In fact, over 90% of offenders are someone the child knows and trusts. Remember, I shared that with you earlier. Hiding in plain sight, child molesters go out of their way to create the appearance of being upright, responsible citizens. They insert themselves into situations where they have easy access to children and strive to create situations in which they can be alone with a child. And again, that video was a very, very informative and powerful video because the doctor, the psychologist, he said this. He made this point to be aware of individuals, professionals that are endeavoring to get alone, to be alone with your child at inappropriate and inopportune times. So again, my assignment is not to make you suspicious, it's to make you aware and to turn the lights on whereby you are discerning. That's it. My assignment is to assist you in becoming more discerning, not necessarily suspicious. Because suspicion is generally the fruit of imbalanced emotions, but discernment is the result of wisdom. It is the result of being tuned, being attentive rather to the warning signs and the warning signs of the Holy Spirit, being attuned to your gut feelings and things of that nature. All right. So now, an estimated 80 to 90% of offenders are male, while 10 to 20% of offenders are female. So that's another misconception that all pedophiles are males. That's not true. The percentage of pedophiles, the percentage of male pedophiles are higher than that of females, but there are child molesters, pedophiles that are females. So don't think just because who you're leaving your child with and whom you've given access to your child or children is a female, a woman, that the child is necessarily safe. We have to do our homework. We have to be informed. About 40% of offenders of children under 12 are children or adolescents themselves. Grooming. Let's talk about grooming. This is the process that child molesters and pedophiles go through in order to develop trust, not only of the child, but of the parent, to possess, to acquire the trust of the, there's another word I'm trying to pull, the custodian. That's not the word I'm looking for, but there's another word that defines and or identifies a person that is the caregiver of a child other than a parent. But nonetheless, let's move on because we only have a few minutes left. All right, let's talk about the grooming process. Grooming is the process by which an offender draws a child into a sexual relationship and maintains that relationship in secrecy. Okay, listen to this fact. Grooming increases the predator's access to his victim and decreases the likelihood of discovery. So in other words, just like Satan, he's cunning, he's patient, he's strategic. Satan is not obvious in his attacks, in his campaigns, in his agendas. He does not wave the flag. He does not turn the spotlight on him and identify himself and disclose what his intentions are. Neither do child molesters, neither do pedophiles. Are y'all understanding this? They are strategic, they are patient, they have a well developed, thought out campaign as it pertains to the children that they are targeting. The establishment and eventual betrayal. Why is it a betrayal? Because they develop the trust of the child as well as the parent, as well as the custodian of said child. So when they pounce, when they initiate their devious plan to molest, betrayal is experienced by both child and caregiver, because that predator developed, acquired the trustworthiness of the child. The establishment and eventual betrayal of affection and trust occupies a central role in the child molester's interactions with children. The grooming process often seems similar from offender to offender, largely because it takes little to discover that emotional seduction is the most effective way to manipulate children. I hope you all are catching operative terms and operative terminologies here as we are walking through this series. I hope you are catching this. Emotional seduction. Are y'all catching the terminology? It takes little to discover that emotional seduction is the most effective way to manipulate children. Again, children are very trustworthy. Children are innocent, and their perception of others are through the lens of innocence. And this is why it is our responsibility to protect not only your child and your children, but to protect children, because they are unable and incapable of protecting themselves. All right, let's dig further as it pertains to the process of grooming. Some powerful statistics here. A non-sexual relationship is established first. We know inappropriate sexual relationship and interaction is the end result, but that's not how things begin, because they have to develop trust. They have to develop and establish loyalty. They have to develop and establish the child's confidence in them, the parents' confidence in them. And so a non-sexual, this is part of the grooming process. So a non-sexual relationship is established. Child molesters gain the trust of victims and their families. Victims and their families. I've been saying that. Victims and their families, and seek time alone with the kids. Don't miss that. The molester gains the trust of victims and their families. All right. The next, sexualization of the relationship takes place gradually. Sexualization takes place gradually. So the relationship between the victim and the predator, it gradually progresses from leisure, from being sports centered, being entertainment centered. When I say entertainment, I mean as it pertains to music, maybe it's a music teacher, um, some type of artistic behavior and or artistic activity, it transitions from that, gradually transitions from that to sexual, to touching, to kissing. And again, this is why I mentioned on last week and really throughout this entire teaching that parents, especially in 2022, because what our children, now we know pedophilia existed back in the 1500s as far as the definition. So this is nothing new, but Satan has repackaged this damnable deed and perverse behavior. He's made it more attractive. He has developed other subtleties as it pertains to it. But this is why it is paramount for for parents and for family members to engage in conversation with your child, with your children. I told you last week, my mother drilled us as children coming up, drilled us. What did you do today? Who did you hang out with? Did anybody touch you at school? Did anybody have inappropriate interaction with you? See, my mother was the type of parent that was all up in our business. She was not that parent that gave us privacy at 11 and allowed us to close and lock our bedroom door at 13. The devil was a liar then and still a liar now. My mother wasn't having it. Huh? There was an instance, I remember my mother took the door off the hinges of my brother's bedroom because there were, y'all not talking back to me tonight, because there was no secrecy, or rather, there was no privacy in her house for children. I just, Lord help me. I'm trying to help you parents. I'm trying to help you new age parents, you millennial parents who are endeavoring to be your child's friend. Becoming your child's friend prematurely sets them up for disappointment. I'm talking good here, and I can't get no hearts. Y'all not giving me no hearts. Y'all not giving me no emojis, no nothing. I know this is a touchy subject, but listen, the devil is using people to touch your children inappropriately. So we need to discuss the realities of our lives. We can't continue to be oblivious and pretend that what's happening is not happening, or naive enough to believe that it won't happen to you. It won't happen to your child. It won't happen in your family. Let's not be that naive. So, parents, don't endeavor to be your child's friend prematurely. If your child is 10 and 13 and 14, and your child and you are just tight and loving, and your child doesn't hate you at some point during their teenage, adolescent years, you're doing something wrong. Y'all not talking back. And so we need to be more involved in what's happening in our children's lives, because the sexualization of the relationship takes place gradually. Let me just finish this slide and we'll pick it up next week. The child's cooperation and silence are maintained by various forms of coercion. The child the child accommodates to increase sexual demands with increasing sense of betrayal and guilt. Statistics, as it pertains to the process of grooming, these are the results. These are the consequences. Most perpetrators will continue to abuse children if they are not reported and stopped. And let me say this, as a parent, as a as one who has the custodial rights over a child, grandmother, uncle, whomever. When the child comes to you, when the child develops enough courage and enough boldness and confidence to come to you and to confess violations of their body by someone, listen, don't go into defense mode, especially if they're telling you, mother, that it's your boyfriend, father, that it's your girlfriend, or that it's your sister, that it's their uncle. Don't come on here. And this is why we'll get into it next week as it pertains to why children who are molested don't tell. And the reason why they don't tell is because what they say is rejected. What they say is said to be non-truth. And so they hold it. They allow the abuse to continue because they themselves, in most cases, are powerless to defend themselves against the perpetrator, against the victimizer. And when they do come forth and tell an adult, most adults are so stupid, especially those who are caught up in lust with the boyfriend and with the girlfriend. And in most cases, there are signs of abuse that do eventually expose themselves. But we see what we want to see. But if the perpetrator is not reported and stopped, the abuse continues. Nearly 70% of child sex offenders have between 1 and 9 victims. Did y'all hear that? Nearly 70% of child sex offenders have between 1 to 9 victims. One predator can have up to 9 victims. An average serial child molester may have as many as 400 victims in a lifetime. In a lifetime. That's all the time. That's all we have time for tonight. We'll pick up next week. Let me know in the comments. I know this has been a touchy subject that we've been addressing, that we've been dealing with for the past 4 weeks, but I'm just the man to do it. I'm the right prophet to handle it, but I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments if this series has helped you, if it has awakened you, if it has, again, not driven you to fear, because that's not the purpose. The purpose is to drive you to awareness, not to operate in suspicion or under suspicion, but to operate in wisdom and discernment. So let me know in the comments if these series of teachings, if these 4 weeks of broadcast on the subject of the agenda to normalize pedophilia has literally empowered you and has provoked thought for you as it pertains to this subject that you never gave any concern to. I want to encourage you tonight to sow. If you're led to sow, the information and the ways that you can do that is on the screen. We have a few changes as it pertains to our giving method. Of course, you can always give securely through all the means. You can go online and give ctjohnson.org, and you can give securely there. Or for those of you that I stopped allowing this option, I stopped giving this option, but I started listen, I don't know who God is going to use to sow into the ministry, nor the means. So I'm giving you the P.O. box again for those of you that may still write checks and or do money orders and things of that nature. You can give a donation through mail and address it to CTJ Ministries. Make it payable to CTJ Ministries, P.O. Box 225, Commerce City, Colorado 837. You can give via your cell phone and text. You can give by mobile, text to give, as it were. And we have a new key phrase to text, and that is SOWSEED. Text SOWSEED to 54244. Of course, you can give via PayPal. The email address is info@ctjohnson.org, and then Cash App CTJ Ministries, $ CTJ Ministries. I encourage you to sow tonight into the anointing that ministered to you, sow into the vessel that provided you with this information. And we're going deeper. We're going deeper. We have tonight alone, as it pertains to this subject alone, I had 18 slides and we only got to 6. And so there's much more that we're going to cover on next week. All right. Have a powerful, progressive rest of the week, and share, and what? And share, and help me make more individuals aware of this agenda, this demonic stratagem to normalize and then legalize pedophilia. Have a progressive, productive rest of the week. I'll see you next week. This is Prophet Johnson. I love you. Be empowered.
Thank you for tuning into Empowerment Monday with me, Prophet C.T. Johnson. Would you prayerfully consider partnering with C.T. Johnson Ministries International? Enable us to continue to declare truth and empower lives. Go to ctjohnson.org/partnership and sow your best seed today. I also invite you to like and follow the ministry's Facebook page at CT Johnson Ministries, as well as subscribe to the YouTube channel, also CT Johnson Ministries. Remember to click the bell to receive notification of live broadcasts and newly uploaded content. For further information about the ministry, products, and the various services we offer, visit the website at ctjohnson.org. Until next time, be empowered.